Lovecraft was writing in the 1920s when most of his more famous stories were published. He was writing of a New England that, in his imagination, had ancient roots in unknown cultures, where druidic circles and pagan chants would infest the countryside, where a kind of subterranean culture existed, parallel to the world of our own reality. He peppered his stories with references to the works of archaeologists and anthropologists, some real, some fictitious, and connected the American Indian culture to the worship of strange, perhaps extraplanetary or extra-dimensional beings who viewed humans as little more than undercooked hors d'oeuvres. That's from Chapter 1, The Dunwich Horror and Occult History of America, from Peter Levenda's Sinister Forces, a Grimoire of American Political Witchcraft, Book 1, The Nine. This series of books, 4 books total, excellent books. I highly recommend them. Hello and welcome to another edition of The Stench of Truth. The title of my video will be an homage to Fever I Am, who does some excellent vlogging, and I highly recommend him, Fever I Am. And the title is Panic! 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 Okay? It's time now for everybody to get down to the fucking brass tacks, people. Congress is back in session, and with the President giving his joint address, trying to hammer home the idea of healthcare reform, which is nothing more than a federally mandated bailout for the insurance industry by way of your fucking pocketbook, because there is no public option going to be offered that is going to be in any way competition to private insurance companies. And yes, they will have to cover you even if you have a pre-existing fucking condition, but they will also rake your fucking ass over the coals in order to give you a policy. So there's going to be no protection for you, and you're going to be required to get it. And if you don't, you're going to have to pay a huge penalty, some percentage of your gross income, or some formula such as this. So let's get focused, people, and remember, right now we have Congress back in session. We need to fucking flood their offices with calls and letters, because, as I've said before, for people who are just waking up to political consciousness now and just getting involved in this process, some of them still operate under the belief that these people in power actually do something for them. The town halls have illustrated that a lot of this is nonsense. And what we need to do is prove to everybody either that the force of the will of the American people can effect fucking change with these people in office, or that it will finally drill into everybody's fucking thick skulls that these people do not listen to us, that they only listen to the group that gives them the most fucking money, period. Either way, it's a win-win. Do you understand? That's why it's important to get involved and keep involved. Okay? I sent off a bunch of letters addressing several topics, which I'm going to briefly go over here with you right now, and hope that you'll do the same. What is up with all of the fucking czars that are in this administration? There's like 40 or 50 fucking czars in charge of various departments. They're not elected, they're appointed to their positions. They don't have to go through any confirmation process. The worst of all of them is this fucking John Holdren, who wants to kill off like 3/4 of the fucking population of the world because humans are bad. Well, he tried to distance himself from his own fucking writings back in the 70s. But if you believe that shit that he's trying to pour down your fucking throat now, you better wake up to the reality and realize that he holds the same fucking views he held before. Okay, so let's get rid of the fucking czars. Unelected, don't have to go through any kind of confirmation process. And these are the people, the bureaucrats that are going to make the laws, okay? Get rid of them. Bernanke, he has to be reapproved to be the Fed chair. How about we tell the fucking Senate to shove him up their fucking ass and do not approve his reappointment and throw his fucking ass out? That's another one. Of course, the healthcare issue, whatever your stance is on it. Pressure your fucking senators on it. And cap and trade. Let's not forget, we already have a bill passed by the House, okay? This has to be tackled post fucking haste. Get on their asses, write them, call them, flood them, and tell them that you are not going to stand for it. Cap and trade is nothing but a tax on everything you fucking do. And it puts a cap on energy that you're allowed to have. And that we're allowed to produce in this country. It will kill jobs. It will kill any manufacturing that's left in this fucking country. And it will kill you with taxes. So those are some issues that you can tackle right now. And I strongly urge you to do it. But the main focus for this video, panic. And why panic? Because the desired effect has not been reached with this swine flu, the H1N1. And they're not people running around like chickens with their fucking heads cut off, worried about getting this terrible, horrible flu, which they've been trying to pass off as something horrendous that needs to be protected against with a vaccine. So now what we have is fear being promulgated in the form of the vaccine itself. So now we have videos talking about a flu vaccine having the patent number 666, some way indicative of the antichrist, Satan, or the devil, what have you. Well, U.S. patent number 666 was issued in like 1830. Or 1835, something like that. I looked it up, okay? So, there is no fucking U.S. patent 666 influenza vaccine, alright? Now, the hysteria that is going on serves the purposes of the powers that be. Because fear gives them power to enact laws and to do things. This is their modus operandi. Do not be led into it. So do not climb on the hysteria bandwagon over the vaccine. As of right now, as of right this very minute, there is no law in this country that requires you to get a vaccine. Now, that could change, and you need to stay on top of that. But until that does change, and even if it does, you still have the fucking right to refuse! And I strongly urge you do. Because of all of the shit that they put in these vaccines. So don't jump on the fear fucking bandwagon because it serves their purpose. They use everything. They're masters at it. So the flu didn't get everybody up in arms and fearful and afraid for their lives, so now it's the flu vaccine. Let's be a little rational. Let's do the right thing. Let's get involved and stay involved. Thank you. Good night.